Good afternoon. Today's October 15th, 2019, and I'd like to welcome you all to our school board meeting. If you would like to speak during the hearing of citizens, please take a card in the back of the room, fill it out, print legibly, please, and hand it in to Kathy Tompkins, sitting to my left, and at the appropriate time, we'll call you forward to speak. Please now stand and salute the flag with the Booker High School Color Guard under the direction of Sergeant First Class retired John Ledbetter. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Booker High Color Guard. Today we have some special presentations. We have our White Glove Award, which is always a wonderful part of our beginning of the year. Please come forward, Jody Dumas, our Assistant Superintendent, Interim Assistant Superintendent's Chief Operating Officer, and Lou Selkin, Custodial Supervisor for these awards.
Well, thank you very much. It is just an honor every year to be able to come up here and present the White Glove Award to our custodial teams who have gone above and beyond over the summer. Our White Glove Award is our annual rating of how clean a school is coming out of what we're going to call the summer break. And so we have found that over the course of the year, the cleaner we can get over the summer, the better shape we're in, then we'll carry that throughout the year. And so the White Glove Awards a few years ago became a measure by, we rate schools on how well they did and the teams on how well they did their cleaning over the summer. And so how do we do this? So we send out teams who go out and they inspect a good part of every school, and those teams are looking for everything under the sun. They go into classrooms, they go into bathrooms, they go into administration, the clinic. They are taking out a black light in bathrooms and shutting the light off to look for things that the naked eye cannot see. And so everything that we find on those inspections, and I've done a lot of them, and Mr. Stecklin has too, there are points off a total score. And so the awards that you're going to see come out of here today are schools that have gone above and beyond, that have gotten exemplary scores on their White Glove inspections this past summer. And a few minutes ago when I said summer break, I kind of want to put quotes around summer break. And it needs to be part of any conversation around White Glove Awards these days because, as you know, for good measure, our schools are busy over the summer. We're doing a lot with making sure kids are in school, learning, parents are in there with them. So we've become community members, right, as many of our schools have become. That puts stress on all of our custodial teams because they don't have any downtime at these schools. And in many cases, they'll have 4 or 5 buildings of classrooms on campus. 4 of them will be filled, and so they'll have to rotate their cleaning and work with their administration to try and make it all work. So at the end of the summer, when we've got about a week to turn the school around, we can have a white glove inspection. In fact, we used to do white glove inspections the week before teachers came back. our teams are so tight now that we actually go the week teachers are back because we have to give them those few extra days to give them the opportunity to get through and finish some of their schools. So the job of getting a White Glove Award has got more and more difficult over the course of the last several years. So we are just super honored to be here with you tonight and be able to present these awards. And I have to say before I start the awards, I'm super embarrassed as I look around the room and I see all the faces that I'm so happy to work with. I haven't seen many of you in a long time, so I have to apologize for that up front. But it's wonderful to see you all here today. As I was going through and thinking about what I wanted to say, a few months ago, actually, I found a letter on the internet. It's written from a teacher, not in our district, but it was an open letter to school custodians at her school. And so I thought I would read that, and I thought it was apropos to today's awards. It says, "Dear school custodian, we don't appreciate you enough. When I was thinking about all you do for us, a quote kept swimming through my mind. It was from Sam Ewing, a former but not well-known professional baseball player. He was a minor league manager and college-level educator. It's safe to say he knows a lot about how hard work shapes a person on the field, behind the scenes, and in the classroom. So do you." Ewing said, "Hard work spotlights the character of people. Some turn up their sleeves, some turn their noses, and some don't turn up at all. Custodians, thank you for turning up. Thank you for rolling up your sleeves, and thank you for working hard, even when some of us turn up our noses. The next time you walk down the hall, listen to the familiar jangle of your keys. Your keys sing a song of duty, honor, and dedication. They symbolize so much more than the ability to just open doors around campus." So I think that kind of symbolizes how sometimes we take you and your custodial teams for granted. But this hopefully today lets you know how much we appreciate the job you do day in and day out. So thank you very much. So without further ado, we're going to work through our awards, and we're going to start with a couple of awards. These are a couple of schools who we could not rate this year. We always kind of do this. These are teams that have gone above and beyond. We could not rate them because of construction or other things going on. So in that light, we'd like to recognize Brentwood Elementary for all the work you did during the construction project. Haley Green, come on up.
Thank you.
No, we're going to do it later. Thank you, Haley. The other team that we'd like to highlight is Venice Middle. And so come on up, Michelle Stewart. I would like to also note thank you to the administrative teams who have come here to support your head custodian today. We know that we're most successful when we're integrated in the culture of the school, and your support means a lot to all of us. So thank you very much. So we're going to start with honorable mention schools. These are schools who scored very, very well on their inspections this year. First and foremost, Ashton Elementary, Joy Bryant. Congratulations, Joy. Lakeview Elementary, Kenzie LaFrance.
Okay.
Laurel Nokomis School, Caroline Schreiner. Wilkinson Elementary, Claude Moist. And the next step up, White Glove, Brookside Middle, Inez Clark. So I've heard a couple questions about pictures. As soon as we get finished up and board members make comments, we're going to go outside, and Tracy Beaker's got us set up for pictures. So we'll do that right after, okay? Let's see. Next, Cranberry Elementary, Anastasia. Anastasia, are you here? All right, come on up.
We'll take a picture afterwards outside. Thank you.
Glen Allen Elementary, Carol Quintana. Heron Creek Middle School, Dave Sobleski. McIntosh Middle School, Jackie Weaver. Jackie here? I don't see Jackie. Oh, there you are, Jackie. I'm sorry. Northport High School, Nicole Freck and Mark Montgomery.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Southside Elementary, Kimberly McClung.
Good job, Kimberly. Focus picture outside.
Okay, sounds good.
Taylor Ranch Elementary, Terry Fileri. Thanks, Terry.
Congratulations, Terry.
Toledo Blade Elementary, Olga Androshko.
Good job, Mom. Taking pictures afterwards.
Venice Elementary, Antonina Dunchek.
Stick around for the picture afterwards. Thanks.
And our Platinum White Glove Awards, Alta Vista Elementary, Steve Denson. Atwater Elementary, Victor Bizweski. Booker High School, Carolyn Redden and Deborah Purvis.
Exactly. Thank you so much. We would definitely show up with the pictures. Thank you, everyone.
Gulfgate Elementary, Jeffrey Severson. Jeffrey. Lamarck Elementary, Dominic Palumbo. So I have to mention, as they're coming up, I met with Troy the other day at Lamarck to talk about things that are going on at the school, all good. And we were talking about the building and grounds. He said, well, I'm not really sure. Talk to Dominic. So that really shows his confidence in Dominic. So we appreciate that, Troy. Oak Park, Luz Ramirez.
Turn around, look behind you. Look behind you.
STC North, we've got Denise Pignotti and Laura Acosta.
I love the smile. Stick for the pictures.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
STC Northport Campus, we've got Maria Smith. Yeah.
Well, surprise, surprise.
Thank you.
Maria, congratulations. Nice seeing you. Tatum Ridge Elementary, Sue Pointer. Oh, here she is.
Picture outside. Last.
And Tuttle Elementary, Johan Guerrero. Hey, Johan, thank you.
With the smile. That's it.
All right, well, that concludes our white glove presentation, but I would like to say to everybody here as a head custodian, even if you didn't get a white glove today, as we went out and inspected your sites and teams started to come in and talk about what they saw, the conversation was 100% wrapped around the fact that everybody was super impressed across the district with the little amount of time that you had, how we were prepared and ready for students in all of our campuses. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate it. It's my honor to be part of your department, and I look forward to working with you in the future. So congratulations to all of you.
I think we have a few comments. Mrs. Zucker.
I'm normally never the one that goes first. It's normally Mrs. Brown. So she just looked over at me and I said, I beat you, because I am so excited every year when we do the white glove. I want to thank you so much. We do appreciate you, and we know how hard you work, and we are trying to rectify some of the things to help you. I want to thank the principals for being here, and to watch the collegiality of the custodian and the principal, to see you hug and to see the warmth between the both of you. It's very heartwarming, because that to me is a family. So you all are family. And that's how you treat your school. That's how you treat your students as well. And I'd like to thank Lou Strickland also, because Lou, you've been doing this for many years. And I thank you. Lou's a neighbor of mine. I haven't seen him lately, and I've been concerned about him. So it is a big family. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You are the heart of our campuses, because you're the ones that are responsible for making sure that everything is in order and the kids come to a clean place, and hopefully they get to respect what you do. Thank you again.
Mrs. Brown.
I too want to thank you. And, I know when I visit my daughter's kindergarten classroom, she's not a kindergartner, she's a teacher. But there's, in case someone didn't figure that out, I see all the stuff that's on the floor, and oh, good Lord, when they're doing something for the holidays or Mother's Day or something, the glitter that comes out too, and I know how hard that is to clean up. And, every morning it's always cleaned up. But more importantly, I know how well our lunchrooms and our bathrooms are. And, as ladies sit and we notice those things. And I always look around where the floor meets the barrier in the bathrooms. And there is not a public facility anywhere, even some of the best hotels and restaurants, that have cleaner floors in those areas than we do in our bathrooms and in our lunchrooms. We do such a good job of cleaning out all those little nooks and crannies. There isn't a corner anywhere in those bathrooms that you'll find any dirt, and I think that is wonderful. And I'm sure the gyms are that way too. I don't get in there. But I really, really am proud every time I go into one of our bathrooms at how clean they are. And I always look at some of these other bathrooms in these public, nice restaurants that I go into, and I felt like telling them, you really ought to go talk to our custodial staff and find out what you need to do to get your bathrooms up to this level of that we have in our schools. So proud of all you do, and I know you all take it all very personally, your schools, and I just want to thank you for all you do, and we truly appreciate it.
Mr. Robinson.
I'm probably going to butcher this quote, but never has so few done so much with so less. So little. I said I was paraphrasing. I was afraid if I said it exactly, I'd be plagiarizing. Please don't ask me to spell either one. I mean, I know that you guys are understaffed, but that doesn't deter you guys. Certainly nobody in this room is doing it for the pay, which is probably another reason why you guys are understaffed. And you guys do so much. You guys have routes. I mean, people don't realize, like the bus drivers, you guys have to get this stuff clean. Like Ms. Brown mentioned, when those kids come in, it's got to look clean. Those things, I mean, we have to, you guys are like the silent little elves at night. Picking stuff up, and you guys get it all done, and you got to get it done within a certain period of time. And with so little, I know that there's a lot of things that you guys want, pressure washers, a lot of equipment you guys can use. But so I just want to say thank you. I realize you guys do this for the love of the job and for the kids, and it doesn't go unnoticed. And I know events like this is our little way of showing appreciation, and I just want to say thank you.
Mrs. Ziegler.
Well, I guess it'll be a culmination of a lot of things that were said, but I've always loved the White Glove Award because it does give an opportunity to highlight such an integral part of our district, which is you guys. And it's not only this cleanliness, but it's creating a safe and clean environment for all of our kids. I have 3 little kids, and I can't imagine, and I can barely keep my house clean. But I do recognize the role and the passion that you see as you walk through today, and how important that is. And I hope that never gets overlooked, because you are an integral role in our school district. What Mrs. Brown said is something I also share. If I go to a county building or a public restaurant or anything like that, I have this sense of pride where I'm like, I have never walked in any of our facilities ever and been disappointed. I mean, the bar you set is so high. That's my expectation. I go everywhere, and I realize that that's not the case. So kudos to you. Lou, thank you. Jody, thank you. And we really, really appreciate everything you guys do. So congratulations.
Dr. Bowden.
This is a very high-performing district because we're made up of high-performing schools. There are a number of principals and former principals in the room, and I'm going to let you in on a little secret. When we go away to learn how to be principal, there's one rule that they teach us. If you're not good with your head custodian, you can't run a school site. It's absolutely true. They're the 3 most important people on a school site is the head custodian, the principal's secretary, and a distant third is the principal. And so you are all instructional leaders. This is one of the highest performing districts in the state because of what you do for our kids each and every day. And I just want to thank you for that. Thank you.
Well, I too want to say thank you. Congratulations for this award. Every time I go into a school building, I'm reminded of how fresh and clean and sparkling it is, and that's because of you and your staff. I can't always say that about restaurants. I can't always say that about other buildings, office buildings, other municipalities that I go into, but I can say that about our school district. And it is a pleasure, and it does make for students feeling safe and free to learn. And I think you don't have the toxic smells that I can remember as a young. I mean, I grew up with, Clorox being the bleach being the smell in a school. And I think it's just wonderful. And I've had many discussions with other people in our community, and I can talk about what you all do and how you do it, and the pride that I see in you and your administration. Thank you, Lou. Thank you, Jody. You run a tight ship, and I think when I first went on the school board, I came to visit Lou and Jody, and they took me around, and I think everywhere I went for like 6 months, I was telling the story of facilities. But people really enjoyed hearing that because they didn't know all of the processes that we use, and we do this in a very thoughtful, smart way. So you all are so important to us. Thank you so much for everything you do, and have a wonderful year. And again, congratulations.
Okay, well, awesome. Thank you very much. And if we can follow Tracy Beaker right out the door out there, we'll get some pictures. Thank you.
Thank you. Snuck in there, huh?
It's called
Swab.
Yeah.
bit late.
No, we'll ask you questions later. Your questions will be later.
Yeah.
You started the agenda, right?
All right.
I'm consistent.
Our student representative is here with us, Noah DuBose from Booker High School. Noah, it's a pleasure to have you with us today, and I just gave you a certificate of appreciation for being here. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing at Booker and what your plans are in the future?
Well, good morning or good afternoon. I'm a senior at Booker High School. I'm a College for Every Student ambassador and a member of the ACE program, as well as a varsity basketball captain. After high school, I plan on attending a four-year university and majoring in mathematics and hopefully to continue to play basketball.
That is wonderful. Well, welcome and thank you for being here.
So Noah, just remember, if you ever want to teach mathematics, you can always come home.
Yeah.
Good math teachers are hard to find. And that is a binding job offer, just so you know.
And that will be on tape, so you'll have that for posterity. So next we have the superintendent's report. Dr. Bowden.
Yes, ma'am. I don't know if you had a chance to share with the board as a whole. The reason that I was late for this morning's workshop was that the State of Jobs Conference was taking place. There were about 300 students from 4 different school districts that gathered up in Manatee County. About 150 adults had given up their day to interact with these students and talk to them about what the state of the current workforce is and help our students in setting goals for the future. I want to recognize a gentleman by the name of Chris Laney. He works for Career Source Suncoast. He brought the State of Jobs Conference to Sarasota. He has been contracted with other workforce boards. I'm sorry, I still call them workforce boards, but other career source boards from around the state to bring similar events to State of Jobs around our state. There's now a companion event called the State of Talent that takes place in the spring. It is focused on employers and helping them understand where we are in workforce development. But what a great, great event. It is very rare that I'll take time away from my duties as superintendent during a workshop, but I felt it was important that I was there to recognize the efforts of Career Source, of which I'm a board member. And so I appreciate your indulgence in my tardy arrival at this morning's workshop. And that concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you. And up next, we have the hearing of citizens. I have one card. Melanie Suprin from Venice. Melanie?
My apologies, my grandson, she's out there with them. Thank you. My name is Melanie Suprin. I'm here on behalf of my grandson, Rowan Suprin. I'm here today to try to find out the rules and regulations for the exceptional student education when a parent makes the first contact with the school district. Student services. Some things are measured with a reasonable timeline, and others have given timelines. The system of the first contact, gathering information, the first parent meeting, to the eligibility, to the evaluation. The only timeline given is the 60-day to evaluate. Lack of communication to parents, I've learned this firsthand, that myself and my grandson have fell through the cracks and or was pushed aside. Of the ESE department. I'd like to ask the superintendent or someone from the board to allow the parents of a child with disabilities the right not to have to pay for an education. My grandson was enrolled at the Center for Early Childhood. He was seeking services therapy, speech therapy. I enrolled him in the Starfish Academy for 1 month at my expense because the timeline of the initial contact, the meetings scheduled, the phone calls, the canceled meetings by the ESE department. I fulfilled my duties, and at the request of the school, a hearing test was mandated. And the parent meeting and the evaluation did not take place. I did all the necessary steps, but I had no definitive answer. On September 16th of 2019, this was the best interest for my grandson because he was familiar with his surroundings at this location. Since making contact with the school district in June of 2019, signing my first consent, I was not given the opportunity to meet with anyone from the ESE department. There's more to Rowan's life than just doctors and therapist evaluations. We need to repair, review, and help us parents understand the rules of the ESE department because no parent, guardian, or caretaker should ever endure what I went through.
Dr. Bowden?
It's my understanding you've had some interaction with Ms. Figueroa Alberts. She is here today. She's our executive director of ESE. If you're willing to meet with her, certainly she can talk to you about timelines. If you feel like you've exhausted that avenue, her direct supervisor is Laura Kingsley, our assistant superintendent. Laura, if you'd raise your hand. Okay.
I've spoken, I've done my chain, and that's why I've come to you guys, because I do have everything in chronological order. I do have it with me. I feel I've exhausted every measure. I was pushed through the system. He does have his IEP, but it's not up to what I want it to be. So I will go with your recommendation.
And if that doesn't satisfy you, call the main switchboard and ask to speak to me and reference this conversation. They'll put you right through.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, and that ends the hearing of citizens. Dr. Bowden, do we have any additions and corrections to our consent agenda?
Yes, ma'am.
As always.
Item number 8, approval of the instructional classified personnel report. An addendum was added after the agenda was published, and then we withdrew after publication of the agenda item number 23, which is a Sarasota High School Band Chorus Orchestra field trip, which you'll see at a later date.
Move approval of the consent agenda with the addition of item number 8, addendum for the employee, and with the withdrawal of item number 23.
Second.
Any discussion? Please vote. The vote passes 5-0. I think I see that. Next item up is new business. Item number 37.
I move that the 2019 Florida Safe School Assessments findings and recommendations be approved as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Mrs. Ziegler.
I just wanted to commend Chief Enos and Mr. Dumas and the whole team. I think, as discussed at the workshop today, we are in a really good position. Safety and security is constantly being evolved, but I wanted to, wherever, I don't know where, not here, but tip my hat off to them and appreciate the continued communication that he's provided with the board. So just wanted to add that.
Mrs. Brown.
Well, I too wanted to say that we discussed this at our workshop this morning, and kudos go out to not only Chief Enos, but also Jody Dumas and getting our schools ready. And also I'd like to commend Dr. Bowden for his foresight by putting us in this position, adjusting our budgets so that we focused on what we needed to get done in our schools. And I do believe we are way ahead of all the other districts in our state and perhaps even in this country with the security for our students. And a lot of that has to do with your forward thinking and the work of our district employees on this.
Mrs. Zucker.
I'd more or less the same thing as Shirley said. We are very fortunate here in Sarasota County that we were ahead of the curve. We were out there making the changes, adjusting our budget, making sure that we were spot on as far as hiring our own police force and making sure that our facilities are up to speed. So we are in the forefront of the state for what we have done. And I, again, thank you, Dr. Bowden, because it was at your direction that this all occurred, and very fortuitous of us that we were able to hire Chief Enos, who really did an exceptional job in putting this group, the officers together and getting this whole program moving forward.
It's a day of gratitude, because I'm very grateful that we have clean schools, that we have schools with gifted students, Dr. Covert, right? That we have remarkable things going on in our school district, and that our schools are safe and secure. And, can you ever be safe and secure enough? I'm not saying we will ever finish that project, but I will say that I feel confident that our students are safe and secure and to the best of our ability. And I see and meet with school districts around the state, and that is not the case because they don't have the funds and they don't have the ability in some cases to put a program together. When we talked about putting $25 million into, well, we're just going to put $25 million into, I was like, what? It was just an amazing thing to me because it's a challenge to do that. But I think we have a great leader, a great school district, and I am grateful. I'm very, very proud of our district. So I think it's time for us to vote if there aren't any other questions. So please vote. And the vote passes 5-0. I like that. That's very good. And I think that ends new business. And now for announcements. And I will turn this over to Mr. Hardy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a request of the board. I would request that the board vote this evening to authorize me to hire Attorney Richard McCrae of the Greenberg-Traurig firm. You all are familiar with him. He is already representing the board in a case. I would ask you to give me authority to hire him to represent the board on the same terms with respect to any claims and/or litigation brought with respect to
So moved.
Ms. Bonner.
So moved.
Second.
I would suggest, Madam Chair, that you inquire of the public if anyone would like to comment on this before the final vote.
Would anyone like to comment about this issue? Please come forward, one at a time. No.
Speak now or hold your peace.
If there are no if there is no public comment, any further discussion? Mrs. Brown.
Are there any suits that have been filed currently that we need to have somebody for this, or is this just in case we have?
There is no current pending litigation.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Then we'll take a voice vote. Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Zucker?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Ziegler?
Yes.
And I vote yes. That carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Wow.
Any further announcements? I don't have anything to add except to say that our next regular board meeting is Tuesday, November 5th at 6:30. We're adjourned.
I have to come back? Oh, no.